So why don't Christians rock with Christian hip hop? Hip hop is huge, right? Hip hop, pop, hip hop is pop, right? At this point, and hip hop is huge, and you would think more Christians would listen to CHH, but it doesn't seem to happen. And I'm wondering, why do we think this is? Because if more Christians listen to CHH, then these streams would be up. These, this genre would probably be more recognizable. These artists would be probably more popular, on and on and on and on. C. Goss, why don't more Christians, actually, I'm sorry, Trish, why don't more Christians listen to CHH?
Well, first of all, CHH sounds the same. Like a lot of it sounds the same. And when you don't get a lot of variety in a sound, it's hard to like stay committed. For me, that's part of the case for me. And then a lot of it I just don't really rock with. I just
Does hip hop sound the same to you sometimes? Just listening to hip hop?
Oh yeah, for sure.
So not just CHH, but mainstream hip hop as well.
Yeah, more of the like mainstream, like popular, like type of songs. Not necessarily all of hip hop, of course, but like a lot of it. You know what I'm saying? Just sounds the same. And yeah, I'm not interested in hearing the same sound over and over again. And then when it comes to like content, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, which is I would say across the board with CHH and a lot of mainstream hip hop. The content is like so whack to me. So yeah, that's mainly why I don't listen to it. And then we have a lot of music coming out, like a lot from all kinds of people. So it's hard for me to like keep up with, who's hot right now and who, I mean, of course, because I'm around the genre, I know who is kind of like hot or whatever, but I don't necessarily think just because the rest of the community thinks they're popping, I don't always agree. So yeah, that's my take.
So Trisha's take is the monotony. It's too much of the same, but that's not just Christian hip hop for you. That's mainstream hip hop as well.
Yeah.
So you don't necessarily just listen to hip hop all day, period.
No, I'm an R&B. I love R&B. Like if Christian hip hop, like the people within it had more of that R&B sound, listen, I'm here for it. But I like Byron Joanne and Jalen Ashawn. Like, was it Jalen Ashawn? Yeah, they all have the similar names. But Jalen Ashawn is a rapper, right?
Singer.
Singer, right. Okay, Jalen Ashawn and Byron Joanne. Yes, both of them I really, really like. But it's not a lot of that anymore. Like Kristen Gray was that dude. he delivered when it came.
We had a season where we had the Christian Grays, the Chauncey Johnsons, the Cams, the Chris Lee Cobbins, the Pastor 83s.
All of them, all of them. But they're not really doing nothing now like that. So I'm like, y'all need to come back. Right now is the time to come back. I would say. I feel like, just music in general just needs a new sound. You know what I'm saying? The mainstream R&B world, they got the alternative R&B, which is great, and they're killing. Everybody in that subgenre is killing. So
what would you consider alternative R&B?
Kiana Lede, her is kind of considered alternative, though she's becoming more popular because her talent. So many people. I'm
wondering why you consider to me those are the true R&B artists. Why do you consider them alternative?
Well, that's the category that they've been put in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now we've got neo soul R&B, and now we've got this alternative. Okay. I didn't know this alternative R&B thing.
Yeah, because it's more like the neo soul has become obsolete, and it's more so the alternative R&B. So neo soul kind of is more of a alternative R&B, but it's got more of the R&B, like true to R&B sound to me. So yeah, I feel all them cats that used to be doing it in the CHH world, they need to come back. They need to come back.
It's the monotony. What you think, Bree? What's your thoughts on this? Why don't Christians listen to CHH?
Well, I know from what I've heard other people say, they think it's whack. They think that the quality isn't as good as secular. I don't think, within the last few years, it's not like it used to be back when I started listening to Christian hip hop back in '92. Like, I remember those days. But it's improved a lot.
We would all agree now, right, that that's no longer really an issue, right?
That's not
for the most part.
That's not a relevant argument anymore.
Cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, that stigma still is there.
But it's still there because it's like, I was talking to somebody the other day and their reference to Christian hip hop was the song that T-Bone and Montel Jordan did in the Fighting Temptations. And I was like, wow. So wow. I'm like, there are other artists out since then and even during that time. So, I mean, it's just like that. There are some people who are traditional and they want to stick to gospel and that's it. And they feel hip hop is worldly. So Christian hip hop is automatically going to be worldly too. Like, that's a ridiculous argument. But I mean, I've always listened to it just because, I've grown up listening to gospel, but I never liked, the traditional stuff. Like, that was just never my thing. Choirs and quartets, like, even if I listen to choirs, it was Hezekiah Walker and John P. Key anyway. So I always, I've always been contemporary in my music choices. So CHH was just a natural fit for me. Other people, not so much. But
okay.
Like what they like.
So there's a lot of layers to this conversation, though, because to the conversation of why Christians don't listen to Christian hip hop, you have Christians that don't listen to gospel music. I pose something or Christian music, especially in the culture that I'm been part of. There's a lot of people, people who I attend church with, and they'll never turn on a CCM station, but they'll go to a Dan and Shay concert, or they'll go to listen to the radio and they have their favorite, pop artists or whatnot. And I think growing up, we had the idea that I'm a Christian, so I have to listen to Christian music only. I can't listen to anything else. So one of those layers is you're forced to listen to it if you grew up like I grew up, and you couldn't listen to anything else because you thought, because I identify as a Christian, means I can only listen to Christian music. Where even that idea was perpetuated at your youth camps, where they tell you to break up all your secular CDs and you throw them in the fire, right? So like, there's this idea, first of all, that I think is still within us that if music's not Christian, then it's evil and it's not good, and secular is bad, right? Now there's a difference between secular music and ungodly music, but like all secular music isn't bad. You understand what I'm saying? So that layer and that stigma is still there. And then you have not stigma, but it's this feeling like, yo, Christian hip hop, y'all trying to make Jesus cool. Like, I'm not going to a club to hear Christian hip hop. I don't want to turn on the radio and hear Christian hip hop. And I think there's a lot of ministry that happens in Christian hip hop, and you feel like you're in church every single time you listen to a Christian hip hop record back in the day, right? So it was like, but I don't want to listen. I just got out of church on Sunday. I want to chill and relax. It's a nice sunny day. Like, is it okay for me not to listen to Jesus music right now? Like, is that cool? Like, so it's like, yo, I just don't want to hear about Jesus right now. And that's fine. Like, that's not a bad thing that you just want to exist and maybe listen to a Stevie Wonder record, or you want to listen to a Drake record, or you want to listen to something else, right? So within Christian music,
Stevie Wonder, by the way.
I got you. So within Christian music, we we kind of live under the stigma of this I'm a Christian, so I can only listen to that. So that's why now that we had this enlightenment where I can love Jesus and listen to Drake. Oh, snap. I bet. Well, I ain't listening to Christian hip hop then. so I know so it's more so like for me, I know personally, I don't listen to a lot of Christian hip hop because it's like, it sounds like they're trying to sound like a certain version of a secular thing. Just like Shobaraka said, if I want to listen to Drake, I'll listen to Drake. I don't want to hear this person rap and sound like Drake and be like, yo, this is just as good. Because you know why? There's nothing wrong with listening to Drake.
Right.
So we've stamped it as this is the alternative. And we all know the alternative is usually not better than the original or not better than what you're trying to compare it to. So that's there too. You got that layer to get over. And it's like, bruh, like when we had Christian clubs and Christian parties and things like that, and they would play Christian music, like, yo, you go to the club to dance with girls. Like you go to like, well, dudes do. Like you don't go to the club to 2-step 6 feet apart. So it's like that, like what is this? Like I don't want to listen to, you know, a Tone record. Now Tone makes fire music, don't get me wrong. But I don't want to listen to a Tone record, you know, and I'm trying to like talk to the girl and dance with her, but I can't dance with her the way I want to. You know what I'm saying? So it's a thing of us getting past the barrier that, first of all, we can listen to more than just Christian music, but that does hurt the genre as well too, because Christians are typically the people buying Christian music. So, you know, it's like once you like tell them that they don't have to listen to only Christian music, you might lose your audience because they may not buy records anymore. They'll come to your concerts and they'll do whatever, but it's going to be difficult probably for them to buy records. So, and there's so much other stuff and so many layers I can go on. But yeah, that's probably some of the main reasons why we don't listen to Christian hip hop.
Okay. I don't know. Like, I'm still trying to, like, I hear what all of you guys are saying. I think I definitely can feel, I feel a little bit of whatever all of you guys are saying. I still feel like, I don't necessarily feel like it's, I checked for it. It didn't vibe. So I checked out. I feel like cats ain't checking.
Yeah, that's true too.
That's my thought.
No, that plays a part.
Whether it's not a knowledge spot, whether it's just I don't know where to go to listen to it. I'm more so talking about that at large. Like, why don't the majority of Christians? I mean, I don't even think some cats even really know. You feel what I'm saying?
Do you think that's a true statement though? That Christians don't listen to, well, Christians who listen to hip hop, do you think that they don't listen to Christian hip hop?
I believe that's 100% a true statement. I think the numbers tell the story.
Okay.
I think the numbers tell the story on that one. Yeah. So I think it's more, or as a music pusher, I've always felt that it was my job to introduce people to Christian hip hop because they don't know a lot of times or whatever. Or maybe what they might have heard really wasn't what it, and then they decided never to come back or something like that. I don't know. It's really kind of hard to really make sense of it for me. I definitely understand the monotony piece that Trisha brought up because that's just me in hip hop. I'm a music head. I love R&B. I love jazz. I love big band music from the 50s. You know what I mean? I love music. You know what I mean? So I don't hip hop. That you know, there's some other genres that I might put above hip hop if I'm being totally honest with myself, because I am a music pusher, a lot of the music I check for and listen to is actually not for my enjoyment or me, but it's to actually, you know, get it out there. It's almost like, you know, a low key calling or something like that. Like I believe I'm meant to build platforms and push out these artists of these urban Christian content, you know, kind of whatever the case may be. So that's what I do. It's not always for my necessarily enjoyment. My whole point of all that says is I believe there's a lot of people that still don't even really know about the genre or the opportunity, the many artists of different styles, even hip hop wise, that do it. You know what I mean? There was a time when urban Christian music, R&B, was extremely popping. From honestly the late 90s, it was really, really, really huge. And then we had a kind of a resurgent in maybe the late 2000s, 2000 maybe 9 to 2013, 14. There was another real surge of Christian R&B that was really, really popping. But now that's kind of
JR was popping.
JR was popping, yeah. But there was a time though when JR was almost the only cat really doing it.
True, that's
Right.
true.
You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about more so when there was a collective of cats. Like there was a bunch of, like in the late 90s, there was a bunch of R&B cats. I mean, that were doing urban Christian music. You know what I mean? Whether it was J Moss, Tone, Nancy Jackson, Winans Phase 2. You know, but there was a plethora of urban cats. You know what I mean? Just doing urban Christian music. Till, like I said, the 2009s or 2013s when you had the Sanchi Johnsons, the Christian Grays, the Cams, the Chris Lee Cobbins, you know what I mean? Where there's a plethora. And I'm just talking, you know, that's the guys. I mean, of course, now we have, of course, still V Rose and, you know, Evan and Eris and different cats that really try to pop up the R&B, but there needs to be a change in the monotony. I believe we need that. So that is very, very true. I still feel like it's an exposure thing. I feel like it has not been exposed to enough people.
We ain't got no money.
Oh, well, that's what I was about to say. I was gonna say
we
like,
broke.
So the issue, I think the main issue is why cats aren't even coming back to CHH is because there's no money for them. There's no like proper recognition. They don't get the respect that they're due. They're mistreated. Like, you know, CHH, the industry, the behind the scenes is a hot mess. Okay. It's a hot mess.
I agree, but I feel like the music industry is like that in general.
Yes, however,
gospel, CHH, mainstream.
Sure. Mainstream, I would say mainstream has some messiness, but they're more professional in their dealings.
About their messiness.
Well, I would say about their money. They get their money. You see what I'm saying? Like that's the difference. Like the difference is the professionalism and the way that they it's just the operations. There's an operation. There's an infrastructure. CHH does not have that still. And if people will say that they do, listen.
It's still being built.
Not there. It does not exist. Yeah. If it ain't coming for Reach, and even Reach's infrastructure, I mean, it's a little shaky. Like,
I think Quote would agree with you though, because Quote always tells me like there's no structure in CHH, and he's trying to bring structure to the game, and
that's always been my thing. Is how can I bring structure to this?
Yeah, and like you'll even be so we was doing concerts, and we'll be backstage, and like the artists trying to holler at us about stuff that they see structurally that we're doing, and they're like, "Yo, so like you do this? Like this is what you could do?" I'm like, "Yo, this guy asking me like, can I help him? Like I'm thinking that you got this all together." And you're trying to recruit my man over here who did the graphics for us.
That's what happens because when the few of us that are doing it well, right, who are giving off the professionalism, right, if they see it and they're like, "Yo, like this what we need right here." But listen, I
yeah, not hear you.
This is a whole nother conversation that we can have, but that's the main reason why cats are not coming back. Like. I know one person, somebody in particular, who did a lot of features for Reach, and he like, I'm good where I'm at, writing for mainstream folk, you know what I'm saying, making that kind of money and doing other things, you know what I'm saying, other things that's outside of music that's making him more money, which makes sense to me. But it's actually very sad to him because he's super talented. And we could use his voice in the CHH space, but
McDowell?
Say it again.
Was McDowell? Who?
No.
Okay.
But
shout out to Dimitri.
It's like I be
my
trying
guy.
to have hope. I be having hope for CHH to like do better and just be better. And I try to put my influence in there however I can. Like I want to help. I would love to help the artists, and I do on some level. But I want to be realistic too. It's like I don't know that only me or just two of us can change the whole subgenre. Like it's got to be, it's got to be a plethora of us trying to and coming together though, not just doing it, on our own, but coming together and doing what we do best. To make sure that this infrastructure is laid out properly. But it's just This has been an ongoing conversation for so many years that I mean, that's exactly what I did the South by Southwest joint on. It was doing business in CHH. Like how does that look? What is it even? What is it even? Like, you know, and I don't know, bro.
And a lot of us behind the scenes people have started to come together a little bit. Probably not as much as we need to. There's been so much focus on the artists, and there needs to be a season of focusing on the managers, the promoters, the booking agents, the, you know, on and on and on, people who can really help build structure for what we do here. And you're right, that is part of what's needed to make sure that the infrastructure is built, money is coming in, which then pushes out marketing and stuff like that. So eventually we have to take our focus off of the artists, which I don't know when that's going to happen, because right now we have artists, plethora of artists who are eating off of Christian hip hop.
For sure.
Yeah, plenty. We got plenty of artists who are living off of Christian hip hop, whether it's merch, whether it's production, whether it's touring, whatever the case may be. We've got artists who are doing that. But we don't have a lot of behind the scenes people who are able to do that consistently. And so that's going to be an issue. There's so many things, but I still feel like there's a piece we're missing. And I don't know what that piece is necessarily, though we've all touched on different things as to what it is. I mean, because even if you think about it, I mean, I think youth groups blast Christian hip hop like crazy. So you would think that they would know coming up. But Christianity is a funny thing though, because salvation, you know, doesn't always happen just as a child, right? So there's always new people coming in. There's always new fans to be garnered of the genre. It's really, it's a peculiar thing. It's a big situation that has to be tackled. But I still feel like not enough people know about Christian hip hop. And even if they get a taste of it, I'm not sure that they fully know where to go next.
Sure. I definitely agree with that. I definitely agree with that. And I think a part of that problem plays into it because, what am I saying? I said that wrong, but my sentence structure game is terrible. But something that is not helping that problem is when Christian hip hop artists don't want to use the title and don't want to use the name. And then the ones that do want to stick and use the name, they're not as good as the ones that don't want to use the name. So when you type in a Christian hip hop artist, you might get an artist that's not necessarily the greatest. As good as the other. That's a possibility as well. I really think, and honestly, you know, just part of the structure and infrastructure is music pushers, is DJ, is program managers, is radio. You know, we could talk about radio dying all we want, but it's still out there. It's still pushing. It's still number one advertisers, you know what I mean, and different things of that nature. So radio is still doing a thing. And the fact that Christian hip hop hasn't had solid radio play as much as all these other genres is definitely something that affects the conversation as well. Mm-hmm. So all of this, the infrastructure, I think, is probably the part that might be hurting the most. This one escapes me as somebody who feels like I'm theoretically low-key called to build these structures and foundations for these artists and whatnot, and these systems. I mean, at this age, you know, I've been doing this for the last 20 years, and I'm starting to feel like, not that hope is gone, but I'm starting to feel like, man, I really didn't do a good enough job. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So and it's not a job for one person, but
right. I would encourage you not to think like that, because I think you guys have done a lot, you know, and that's all you can do. You know what I'm saying? You again, I think it has to be a collective effort, and you know, and I think we need to correct what needs to be corrected. Like, you know, calling people out when they're doing business shady or doing, you know what I mean? Like, because that also hurts the genre. It hurts us. That's why people are walking away.
I mean, I'm gonna throw a name out just because it's no secret, but I'm just gonna say Miss, and what happened with Miss hurt a lot of situations as well.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Who you talking about?
I don't know who you're talking about.
No.
That's what I thought you was talking about.
Hold on. What was?
Man, just say the name, man.
What was?
Yeah. That.
So
that.
I don't know who that is either.
Did I get the name?
That messed up things for me.
Messed up things for everybody.
I know.
And it's two sides of the coin, right? Because not only did she mess some things up,
5 minutes,
but she had a lot of the answers too. Like she was very, very talented.
Gotcha. And 5 minutes
in what she did. Right? Was she not? She was extremely talented in what she did. She was responsible for some of the biggest things like the 116 tours and different things like that. She was a key person who could help bring what needed to be brought. And for Reach, she did. And I feel like, and for others, she started to a little bit as well. But then when the nonsense kind of went down, which, and maybe we gotta, I mean, I don't, I wasn't in those rooms to know whether or not
Trisha said I was.
I wasn't in those rooms. I know different cats that were affected.
Give her some water. Give her some water.
I wasn't in those rooms to know if there was a way to make things right.
No. There was an attempt, and I listen. Lecrae is a gracious man. People be talking about that man. I'm like, y'all don't even know what this man has gone through. I don't care what anybody got to say about him. Like, I'd be like, shut up, because you don't know. Like, grace, the grace that you have to have. Like, that's all I'm going to say. But no, like, there was attempts, and it was still sit in the camp. And so it had to be over with. And it's unfortunate. It's super unfortunate because, like you said, she was like the GOAT. You know what I'm saying? And I think it just it messed up a lot for women in that case. That's why I said
I didn't even think about that.
That's why I only said when I said for me, yes, for everybody, but also somebody like myself.
Yeah.
It was like, I was like, dang, like, sis, like what? I'm out here I'm trying to be like you, and you over here just wrecking shop. You over here.
I know she at least, I know for sure got Cray, she got Derek, and she messed up some things for Adia as well. I know for sure.
Oh, that's Adia. Okay, yes, her and Swift and well, no, it wasn't Swift. I'm sorry, that was somebody else. Leah Smith. I don't know if y'all know who Leah Smith is. But
she's on Triple E Records.
She was on a trajectory of going up with, and that's when it hit, because that's when she had.
I didn't know Leah was involved.
She had started her stuff. Because I was Leah's makeup artist when she was on 106 and Park and all that stuff. So I was there. I was there, and everything was going up, and then it just. Yeah.
I don't know what y'all talking about, but it sounds juicy.
So I mean, to be clear, and we've already said the name. I'm not going to say the name again, but this person had the keys.
Literally.
She was a beast at what she did, what she could do, and unfortunately, through some integrity situations, the walls came down, and then when everything starts crumbling down, everybody else's walls start going up, and so it really set a lot of people back, messed up a lot of different things. When she's literally the one that I would love to sit under her and learn some things, and have, so that's why I'm like, man, was there any room for redemption? Like, could she be forgiven and grace? But obviously, it really didn't.
That's why she started her own thing. Because literally, again, Lecrae, like I think I heard him tell this story on somebody's. I don't remember where he spoke out about it, but. Yeah, like there was opportunity for her to right the wrong by letting her leave Reach and giving her own situation. after, like, what? Who does that? No, I would not have done that. I'm not gonna lie. You take a bunch of stuff from me, you out, and I ain't gonna help you do nothing else after that. Good, may God bless you. But you know, that's, and then it's still after all of that, still it crumbled.
Yo, they kicking me out the building because it's past 9 o'clock and U-turn closes at 9. So I gotta roll.
That's what it is. That's what it is. I think we were at the conclusion pretty much. Again, thank you guys for choosing for checking into our little group chat here where we just talk about the different things that we know, whatever the case may be. If you know ways or think you know ways that Christian hip hop could build more structure and have more infrastructure, and the word can get out to more people about what's happening in the world of Christian hip hop, make sure to let us know in the comments below. Like, subscribe. We've let you guys into some things that go on behind the scenes. That's what we do here as Tastemakers. And